With that down, let's move on to this, shall we? What is a spoiler? So it's a question that gets brought up a lot. Well, one of the difficult things for movie and TV fans is the fact that nobody has the same definition of what a spoiler is. And we've talked about that before, right? Like, to some people, finding out the specific thing that at the end of what is the I See Dead People movie again?
Sixth Sense.
Sixth Sense. At the end of Sixth Sense, finding out that Bruce Willis was dead all along. To some people, that...
You just ruined it for how many people?
By the way...
A generation that hasn't seen it?
Rosebud is a sled.
God damn.
Hate to break it to you, Rob.
A slut?
A sled.
Oh, I thought it was a
Oh,
completely
and
different
Charlton
movie.
Heston was on Earth all along. Just thought I'd let you know that. But
I can't believe
like,
you just
to
said
some
that.
people, that is the threshold of what a spoiler is.
Right.
But to others, this is not hyperbole. I've literally had this happen. Where I say, you know, there's a scene in the movie where this known star of the movie and this known star of the movie are having dinner. Literally. That's all I said. And I got some people complaining to me that was a spoiler. I don't want to know about what happens in the movie. But you know these two people are in the movie. I'm just saying there's a scene where they're sitting down having dinner and talking to each other. I'm not telling you that. No, that's a spoiler. That's a spoiler. So the talk of spoilers with fandom is always going to be fraught because people have totally different definitions of what it is. Here's what I've always kind of defined it as. And listen, we've all tripped over it sometimes. Absolutely. Everybody has. But my definition is kind of this. If a filmmaker or studio publicly puts out information and makes it publicly available, that is no longer a spoiler.
Right.
For example, when Disney, as an extreme example, when Disney puts out a trailer and it's got Hugh Jackman as Wolverine in the new Deadpool and Wolverine trailer, Hugh Jackman being Wolverine is no longer a spoiler. The studio has publicly made that available. It's information. About a year ago, we did a story about there was a director who was at a comic convention and was asked a question on stage, and he gave a really interesting answer that revealed something. And so, the director publicly said it in a public forum into a public space, and we did a story on it, and I still had people complaining to me that it was a spoiler. Because they were like, well, I didn't see that story.
Right.
Well, just because you didn't see it doesn't make it a spoiler. Anyway. So an interesting thing happened. Yesterday, we did some stories about Ironheart. We did a story about Ironheart and the big splash that Mephisto made with Sacha Baron Cohen playing Mephisto, right? Now, this led, as I went through the comments on it, and by the way, it should be pointed out, Jonathan was scrolling through our live chat yesterday. Nobody said anything about that because everybody knew at that point Sacha Baron Cohen was Mephisto.
You had either seen it or you didn't care. I mean, it's a
see it,
very
didn't care,
small
you knew it.
minority that falls somewhere outside of that diagram.
Now, so we put that out, but I go through the comments, and there are a number of people in the comments angrily going, John, you just spoiled it for me. You remember, this was on public television the night before.
Right.
But, John, you spoiled it for me. You spoiled that Sacha Baron Cohen is Mephisto in Ironheart. I want to show you something. Take a look at this story in Deadline. This is a story in Deadline where Deadline was reporting that Sacha Baron Cohen is Mephisto in the upcoming Disney show Ironheart. You want to take a guess? I'm hiding the date right now. You want to take a guess on when this Deadline article was?
I know.
I know you know.
I bet it wasn't yesterday.
No, I bet you it was last night because they didn't want to
That's
spoil.
right. It was last night.
Last
no.
night.
This story in Deadline, with Deadline reporting that we have learned exclusively that Sacha Baron Cohen is going to be Mephisto in Ironheart, is from 2022.
No.
Here's the story. Speculation, said Deadline, in 2022 is growing that Sacha Baron Cohen has entered the Marvel Cinematic Universe with the role in Marvel Studios' upcoming Disney Plus series Ironheart as a comic book villain. A source close to the production confirmed to Deadline Cohen being a part of Ironheart, likely playing Mephisto. He also has been spotted on the Marvel facilities located at UK Spinewood Studios. Like any other major Marvel characters, word is Cohen would appear in other projects as well. Again, this is Deadline in 2022. 2022.
Who reads anymore?
Now, I happen to then do a little Google search. And when you do a Google search, you can go into tools, time, and you can set a custom time range. I went into Google, I searched Sacha Baron Cohen, Mephisto, beginning of 2023 to the end of 2024. Dozens and dozens and dozens of outlets reporting and talking about the implications of Sacha Baron Cohen being Mephisto.
Who Google searches anymore?
On top of all of that, Rob, the official public IMDb page of Ironheart, both now and has Sacha Baron Cohen listed as Mephisto.
Oh God, the spoilers are everywhere.
It's spoilers. It is.
They're already here.
Publicly made, publicly available, publicly stated information. And then when it happened in the episode, the next day we talked about it. By the way, 5 minutes after, I'm going to see if I can bring this in here. Here we go. 5 minutes after, literally 5 minutes after the show dropped, Sacha Baron Cohen, it might be hard to see, but this one at the end there.
Oh, yeah, because it's like...
Sacha Baron Cohen literally put up him as Mephisto, and when asked, why'd you put that up so soon? He goes, well, everybody already knows. But again, it does lead to the bigger question about the nature and the admittedly tricky nature of spoilers. And I feel like I talk about this at least once a year, but it's worth talking about because it's a subject that kind of has failed to evolve much. Again, it is we as fans, different fans will have different sensitivities, right? Finding out two characters have a conversation in a diner is absolutely not a spoiler to some people, but to some other people it might be. Finding out that a character is in the movie, well, I literally the headline story today is Bradley Cooper is going to be Jor-El in Superman.
Oh, Jesus.
What?
Now you did it again.
Spoilers everywhere.
Oh, why do I even work here?
But it literally comes. We're going to talk about that a little bit later. But I mean, it literally comes
working here?
from James Gunn officially letting it be known that Bradley Cooper is playing Jor-El. But after I posted it and I had to delete the guy, this one guy went on this total apeshit on me for spoiling it. I wanted to be surprised in the movie theater.
Dude, it's not just like that.
Well, that's good for you, but the director literally came out and made it public knowledge. I think, go ahead, Jonathan.
Some of these people, like, to your point, they're saying, like, I could never forgive you for this. And it's like, it's Ironheart, dude. 20 people watched it.
But, I mean, on top of all that, while we all understand different people have different sensitivities and what spoiler to one person is not necessarily a spoiler to the other. I think the bare minimum, though, that you got to understand and you have to know, once the studio, the actor, the director, the producer, whatever, on a public platform, publicly makes information available to the public, it's not a spoiler anymore.
It's out there.
It's not. Once the studio makes it public, because if you say that well, now you're getting into this really sticky territory of, well, is something in a trailer a spoiler? Is announcing who the cast in a movie is a spoiler? Because if you say no, then why is other information that the studio makes publicly available a spoiler for us to talk about? So listen, I'm just going to let you know now. The barometer here is, I will talk about things once a studio or a director or a producer makes it public information. Once they make it public and it's out there, that's something that is fair for us to talk about. And if you don't want to know about anything a studio has made public, well, then that's on you to stay off the internet. That's not our job to keep it hidden from you. That's your job to stay off the internet. Anyway, Rob, we always, as fans, we're always having this discussion, right? And it is a tricky one because everybody has different sensitivities. What is a spoiler to one isn't a spoiler to other. Guys, we want to take a second to thank a sponsor of this video, Stitch Fix. Let's be honest, shopping is not my thing. I've wasted way too much of my time either in stores or scrolling for clothes, only to end up with stuff that doesn't fit or just, doesn't work. See, that's why I use Stitch Fix. You take a quick style quiz, your size, your vibe, your budget, and boom, you're paired with a real human stylist who curates pieces just for you. They send you a fix box with clothes actually fit for your life. Stuff you'll wear to work, on weekends, or wherever. It saves me time, helps me look great, and I never have to step foot in a store. You try everything on at home, keep what works, and send back the rest. Free shipping and returns, no subscription required. Oh, and your first fix? The try-on is totally free. So if you're tired of the endless shopping grind, this is your sign to try Stitch Fix. Seriously, it's style without the stress. Head to stitchfix.com/Campea to get $20 off your first order, and they'll waive your styling fee. That's stitchfix.com/Campea. What would you say, about the evolution of the concept of spoilers, but also what would you say would maybe be the bare minimum that as fans we need to kind of have to agree upon is or isn't a spoiler? I don't know.
Okay, talk about the evolution of spoilers. I'm going to take you back to 1980.
No.
Early May.
I know where this is going.
Mid-May 1980.
I know where this is going.
Okay, you know what? You will go to the Dagobah system. There you will learn from Yoda, the Jedi Master who instructed me. Luke lands on Dagobah, this swamp S-hole. Looking around, and he finds this toad-like creature as he's looking for Yoda. What is this? And then, of course, you hear Ben Kenobi go, because nobody in that movie believed that little toad creature that sounded like Frank Oz, sort of, was a Jedi Master, much less Luke. I cannot teach him. When Yoda's voice changed, oh my God, it's Yoda. Oh my God. And that was a total shocking revelation. And then at the end of that movie, not to be outdone, what happens at the end of that movie? Obi-Wan never told you what happened to your father, did he? He told me enough. He told me you killed him.
It's impossible.
And then one of the most famous lines in history. Those were two shocking spoilers, John. And then you know what happened? Guy named George Lucas decided, you know what? I don't care about the next generation. He made 3 movies that ruined The Empire Strikes Back. 3 movies that if you watch in order, when you finally get to watch if you're 7 or 8 years old and you get to watch when Luke lands on Dagobah and Empire Strikes Back, how could you not know one of the most famous Jedi that ever lived? He was teaching Jedi for 900 years. Luke, did you not read a history book? How? Well, Obi-Wan never told you what happened to your father. Psh, we know what happened. You're Luke's dad. Best spoilers I ever saw in my life. I mean, the best shocking revelations I ever saw in my life. And the guy who created the thing ruined those spoilers for kids for the rest of time. They're not shocking revelations anymore.
You clearly have no appreciation for the Trade Federation.
I'm just saying that one man's spoiler is another man's shared knowledge. Like when the Red Wedding rolled around, there was always one person. Remember that party you went to?
Oh,
there
yeah.
was some guy sitting in the back going, because they read the book. Now, I think as for you, that's about the evolution of spoilers. That's my point about the evolution of spoilers. But in all honesty, John, I do think that to me, a real spoiler is if somebody tells you a plot turn in a film that actually affects the story itself. An actor appearing in a certain role, if they've announced, that's not a spoiler anymore because they put it out. But finding out that Bruce Willis sees dead people, that's a spoiler.
Well, here's how I've worded it in the past, because it's almost the way I've always worded in the past is a spoiler is a piece of information that, if given to you, fundamentally changes the way you see the whole movie.
That's a great idea.
And so, like, to your point, knowing that Bruce Willis is dead, that completely alters your viewing of the movie.
Yeah, because
changes everything.
It literally doesn't allow you to get to receive the story the way the filmmaker intended. You're not supposed to know that going in. Now, here's what's really interesting. What if you have a classic film? So classic movies, I like to watch classic movies that are old enough that I don't know what happens. Like when I first watched Casablanca, I knew what it was. I didn't know
Sure.
this was the beginning of a beautiful friendship. I didn't know what that meant. I didn't know what play it. You played it for her, play it for me. I didn't know what play it meant. You know, you must remember this. I didn't know. And so, because it was
that
long
Yoda?
enough away. But in Star Trek II, The Wrath of Khan, guess what? Spock dies.
Oh, Jesus. This
I mean,
today's episode.
I didn't know that when I saw the movie. I thought at the beginning, because
But his was the most human,
the
Rob.
information had come out, you know, that Spock was supposed to die. And at the beginning of the movie, they have the simulator where Saavik is, and everybody on the Enterprise bridge dies. And I'm like, oh my God, it was a MacGuffin. All of that information that snuck out when fans were going ballistic because Spock died, it was all because it was a simulation. They set me up within the movie. And then when Spock actually dies, I cried. It was the first time in the movie I cried. Second time was in The Color Purple. First time was Star Trek II, The Wrath of Khan, on that line that you just tagged.
This was the most human.
So if they ruin the story, I mean, if you do find out, for instance, say that, you know, Henry Cavill appears as a multiverse Superman in James Gunn's Superman, if you knew that before you went in, by the way, that doesn't happen. But I'm saying if it did happen and you knew it, maybe that would be a shocking revelation. Oh my God, the Snyder Bros and the James Gunn heads, or the gunmen, I don't know what our James Gunn fans call it, they're going to both be happy because there's 2 Supermen that show up. That doesn't happen. But if it did, would you be happy if you knew that? I mean, I don't understand. I think if it really ruins your enjoyment of the film, it's a big twist. I would not have liked to have known. When I saw Sixth Sense, I didn't know the twist. And I was like, oh, and I got that whoosh that you get. The same whoosh I got, no, I am your father. You know, that's when you get that story twist, that feeling that grabs you.
Anything else? You want to tell me who Kaiser Soze is?
I was about to say, Kevin Spacey's Kaiser Soze.
I mean,
I was joking.
Barry Lyndon's being re-released in theaters to celebrate its 50th anniversary. And guess what?
Yeah.
At the end of that movie, you find out that we're all equal now.
I still remember though, like even years after it happened, like years after 19, because I was still single digits year old child, but even years after that, like didn't also Simpsons do something on that? They're walking out, wow, I can't believe Vader was Luke's father.
They did.
But that literally would happen back in the day, like because there was no Twitter. It's like it would the biggest threat area for spoilers was always standing in line for a later movie.
Yep.
And the earlier movie lets out and people talk. That was literally the main place you were in danger of getting hit with the hand grenade of spoilers. But now it's, of course, everywhere. Anyway, guys, question is for you. How do you feel about that? Where do you put your kind of threshold for when something just goes from being something general in a movie or becoming something that literally becomes something that would fundamentally change the way you saw the whole thing? I don't know. And do you agree that, hey, once the studio or director or producer makes something public and it's public knowledge now, do you agree at that point it's completely open for discussion? Or do you think it is the job of outlets and YouTube channels like mine to hide publicly available information? I don't know. However you guys see it, jump down to the comment section below and let us know your thoughts. Hey guys, thanks so much for watching this video. Make sure you like the video, leave a comment, and subscribe to our channel. And don't forget, we have a daily podcast called the John Campea Show podcast, available on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, or your favorite podcasting app of choice. Go and subscribe to it today so it'll be there when you need it.